Does it show that we're recording? Yes, it does. Shows we're
Okay,
recording
perfect.
now. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. Oh, we have a couple of new arrivals.
I'll admit them when while
Yeah,
we're going. Okay.
yeah, thank you. Okay, so I have broken up the review meeting into two different presentations, one for the program two, LTL transport, and the other one is tomorrow for the Portofino transport, just so that the processes are just a little bit different. So I just want to make sure that each program knows what the expectations of uh, pictures and photos and paperwork are for your specific program, so it's maybe less confusing when I'm asking for credit note versus credit and credit stickers versus just a credit count form. So welcome to the meeting, and I don't have this on PowerPoint, so I'll be I'm just a second, I'm just going to mute everyone. There we go. Okay, so here we go. So, welcome to the Portofino Bakery merchandising program. For those of you that are new, I will just kind of run over uh, all of the things that everybody else has been doing for, anywhere from 1 to 6 months now. Um, so this presentation is designed to equip the team members with everything they need to successfully execute the Portofino Bakery merchandising program in select Costco stores across Western Canada. Specifically, it'll provide a program overview, understanding the partnership between MCA and the Portofino Bakery, including objectives and scope, the resources and scope, learning what tools, PPE, and documentation are available to assist you, uh, familiarization with the products and the lineup and handling requirements, schedule and procedures, following detailed instruction for morning and afternoon visits, including timing, reporting, and compliance steps. Inventory and rotation standards, applying the first in, first out rotation, manage expired product, and maintain shelf presentation. Uh, Program specific guidelines, differences between Program 1, the Portofino delivery, and Program 2, which we'll be discussing today for the LTL, which is less than truckload, is what LTL. Sorry, it looks like I cut out for a second there. Program expectations, understanding your responsibilities, professional conduct, and reporting requirements. And then we will go over the call reports and what uh, how how we need the questions to be answered, and what pictures and requirements go into which questions. Okay, so for the daily schedule and the safety guidelines, we do 2 visits per day, 7 days per week. Morning visit, what is put into the system is 1 hour, 15 minutes. Arrival between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. Merchandising completed by 8 a.m. Call report submitted in Iris by 8:30. Uh, that is so that we can get all of the information to Portofino as timely as possible. So with the 1 hour 15 minutes, if you work over that, 115 is the minimum that you're paid for. So if you're there less time, if you do not have a delivery, you have uh just need to go in and do counts, and you have a little bit of backstock to fill, and it takes you an hour and 5 minutes, you're still paid for 115. If you go in as a double delivery day, or Friday delivery didn't show up, you have two deliveries on Monday, you all of a sudden have 5 pallets of product to be working, and you're in there for 4 hours, you're paid for those 4 hours. But we need to know exactly why. I need to be able to justify those hours to Portofino. So I need as detailed notes as possible, so that we know, all of the challenges that you faced. If your backstock was up on high steel and it took them a half hour, 45 minutes to get it down for you, we need to know those things so I can justify that after the hours. Afternoon visit, 1 hour between 1 and 3, 1 and 3:30, arriving merchandising completed by 4:30, call reports submitted by 5. For PPE, steel-toed footwear is required. High visibility vests in stores that require them. Not all provinces require them, but if you do require them, we will make sure that one is sent out to you. And you will require a box cutter, and it's always good to have a black Sharpie with you to mark on the boxes, put your expiry dates onto your overstock so that it's easy for you to see. Or if you have to cross out UPCs for your expired product when it's being processed. So I will add that in there. For the morning call report and the afternoon, it's always good to have this product summary. Uh, you should have one of these with you. It's easier for printing off a sign. You've got your uh, product, you have the product number, you have a UPC number, your credit note number, vendor number is on here. Units per case. So when you're doing your counts, if you count how many cases you have, and then not sure was that 6 or 8 per case, you can look at this document. It'll tell you, tells you the shelf life and your pull date for expiration, all on one document. Okay, so we have for the morning call, we have 2 different programs. The program one is the delivery by Portofino, which is 16 stores across Alberta. Program 2, the less than truckload LTL transport, applies to 12 stores 12 stores, 3 in Manitoba, now 4. Saskatchewan has 3, British Columbia has 3, and Alberta has 3. These products are delivered fresh, already labeled with best before dates. Uh, and the main difference between the 2 programs is the LTL delivery stores require a credit note and a credit sticker for their damaged and expired product, and require the proof of delivery sticker, along with a photo of the invoice so that we can match it up and make sure that what is on the invoice is what was actually received. The POD sticker is what proves that they received that product in their system. The invoice is just, shows that the delivery arrived in the store. POD shows what actually was received in their system. The morning call steps, step by step. When you arrive through receiving, because the front doors are closed, sign in if the store has a sign in log. Not all stores have one. When you first come in, maybe stop at, when you're signing in, you're talking to the receiver, ask them at that point, did you have your delivery arrive yet? Is it out on the floor? If it hasn't arrived, let them know you'll be out on the floor, and they'll have them bring it to you when it does arrive, if it's a delivery day. Uh, so you head straight out to the floor, take your before photos before you touch anything at all. We want to be able to see what it looked like when you arrived. Then you go through and pull the product forward, look for expireds, count. You can start counting as you're going product by product. I do have these kind of, everybody does things a little bit different, but Tracy and I have talked, and when I've been in store, I've done it product by product as I've been pulling things as well. You're already there, might as well count it. And if you only have 2 or 3, it's much easier to count smaller numbers than large numbers. So want to make sure that you pull everything forward, pull any expired, and count all of the product that's on the shelf. Uh, and then count all of your back stock, and then locate your delivery. So I will change the stat count, the order of this a little bit. Uh, but as I said, everybody does things a little bit different. This is kind of a guideline to make sure that you're counting before you're filling. That is a huge. You don't want to fill everything up and then be counting individual stuff. So definitely count beforehand. Taking your expired product to the back. You can set it off to the side and go and get your POD and your credit sticker all at the same time. And when your delivery arrives, if you've already counted all of your back stock and all of your product on the shelf, then you just need to verify your delivery and add the counts from the invoice into your counts. Well, we also need a photo of that delivery. So take a photo of that and any paperwork identifying tags. If there's a label on the side of the pallet, that has the PO number, so we can just we're able to verify that the correct delivery came to your store. We've had incidents where the wrong delivery went to the wrong store. So, it's helpful if we know which store that invoice that was supposed to go to. Uh, Once you've verified your accounts, verified your delivery, have all of your pictures taken, now you can just fill. If you want to fill, face everything, and then clean up, make sure that and take your after photos. So when you go to the back to get rid of your garbage, is when you could, every store is different too. Sometimes you have lulls in receiving, and you will know when is a good time to go back to see your receiver. Or some stores are also not going to give you your POD or your credit sticker on the same day. You may have to leave your paperwork, which you've taken photos of, and have to pick up your stickers the following day. So this is part of why I'm coming to uh, Saskatchewan and Manitoba, so we can kind of have a process for, whether it's a process for each store, so I know what those processes are per store, or we can try and figure out a process for all the stores. Maybe we need to have, you guys can give me some feedback on this too, that, maybe every day when, for PODs and credit stickers, we always pick them up at the desk the following day. That way, Saturday reps are always looking to pick up the paperwork from Friday. And then we're not missing the paperwork from Friday because the Saturday rep thinks the Friday rep picked it up, or the Sunday rep had a credit note and product but didn't get a credit sticker, so the Monday rep doesn't know. And then I'm not sending you guys emails asking you to go and get duplicates all of the time. So, you know, does anybody have any feedback on that for me? Sound like a good idea or a bad idea? Oh,
I
Christina,
can say for my store, it depends who's working and receiving.
yes.
Some people really efficiently will get you it right away. Other people aren't. They can be behind the desk for opening the door and things, but they can't print the stickers. I also found out this morning that ideally the person receiving our credit note signs it and someone else does the sticker.
Mhm.
We've got an audit going on at one of the stores in Winnipeg, so now they're like very on top of these extra things, and that takes time, right? If there's only one person behind the desk, they can only sign it or do the credit sticker. They can't do
Do
both if
both.
they're following the rules. They were letting it slide, but now that there's an audit, it's going to get tightened up again.
Okay. So maybe having, have Leap dropping off our paperwork so that they have the rest of their shift to finish processing the credit stickers and the POD, so that then you pick it up the next day. So then we're not wasting time standing at the desk waiting for our turn, so that maybe the next day, you go to they have an envelope or a basket, or they, someplace where they know that we're going to be coming for it the next day, where you pick it up, so that it's
Yeah, it's
quick
just
and
something
easy
that
going.
just became new information to me, right? I was getting the same person to sign it, fill out the sticker, and getting it in a few minutes. And I've noticed the wait
Yeah.
times. I kind of inquired today, and that's what I found out. So other stores might find they tighten up on that as well.
Yeah. Okay, good to know. Yeah, we'll try and get a process set up for that, saves time for for you guys and for Portofino. And then if we have a process where everybody's, all the stores are on the same page, that I think would be helpful if we all are doing the same thing, and the stores are all doing the same thing. Uh, okay, so first in, first out rotation. We Sorry, put my glasses back on. Uh, very important that we're making sure that we're pulling expired product, and if we if you see that there's a large amount, everybody's gotten really good at this, that, if you see that there is a large amount of product that's going to be expiring in, within the next 5 or 6 days, putting putting that in your notes, in your comments, so that Portofino knows that, all of a sudden we're going to have, 50 or 60 of your sourdough bread are all going to expire in 5 days. They know that they need to replace that. All of a sudden your inventory is going to drop. So thank you for putting those comments in, and let's keep doing that. And also with your pallets, I know that when you have a large amount of pallets and you have double deliveries that show up, it does take extra time to rotate those pallets as well. Because if you have two pallets that came in and you've got brownies on both and they have different dates, you need to have that, the closest date is going to be on the bottom with the older dates on top, and you need to repalletize that. That takes time as well. And stores that have, uh, like Kelowna, they're not supposed to keep pallets in the back. All of their product needs to be off of pallets and under tables, and they need to rotate all of that product that's on the table, all the product that's under the table, to make sure that, that's a lot of movement, taking everything out, putting the newer stuff in behind. So, when you guys let me know these things, you put in the comments, I can talk to Portofino about that, on my calls, and make sure that they know what the challenges faced in stores are. They know in Mansask when there are delayed deliveries and Friday deliveries don't come in, and then there's no deliveries on the weekend, and you get both Friday and Monday delivery on Monday. They they know that this, Mondays are going to be, longer hours because you have twice the product that was expected when you had nothing on the weekend and you came in and on Monday morning and your tables are like decimated. So they understand that, but I really need the comments, as clear, concise, and detailed as possible so that we can, just copy and paste your comment over into the spreadsheet that we our SharePoint with Portofino. Otherwise, if you put lots of extra stuff in there, then we have to actually go through and clean it all up. Take Sherry extra time to uh, take your comments and just sort through what we actually need. So, um, the picture of expiry dates. Program one, handling expired product. Okay, so with the handling your expired product, LTL stores require both a credit note and a credit sticker. And we also require a photo of the product being uh, that's expired or damaged. So we need that photo to be separate from the count sheet. So we need three photos, like the credit sticker, the credit note, and the product. So when if you go in on the first day, and you've pulled your product and you have your credit note, and you take a photo of your credit, of the product being that's expired, but you don't have your credit sticker yet, put that into the comment for uh, with the credit. I believe it's question 9 for the comments. Then you put in that I uploaded a photo of my credit note, and on the product credit sticker will be available tomorrow. So that we can put that in so that the people that process the credits know that the credit sticker will be in the next day. And then the next day that's going to move further down. I'll explain all that when we go through the call report. But we need also to have a photo of the product so we can verify that, yes, there was only 6 banana loaf that they were needed put on the credit, not 60. Because sometimes there's typos, typos on the entering end of the credit. at from Portofino, or sometimes there's a typo when you're entering your numbers in the call report, so it says 60 rather than 6. So then if we don't have a photo of the product, then we're questioning, was it 6 or was it 60? So a photo, is worth a million words when it comes to this. It saves a lot of time. So yeah, the credit note has been updated now, so it has Treasure Mills on there. The for the It has the cupcakes and everything. So that new credit note is available on Iris, and I believe and it's also attached to this meeting.
The credit
Uh,
note doesn't have Treasure
mhm.
Mills at the top. So Treasure Mills
It
is
does
oh
now.
07.
Yeah, yeah, it does now. It was updated by Portofino last week, and I updated it to uh, it's on this call in the invite. It's also on Iris. So the window where it said where Treasure Mills was at the top, actually the window was short and it just cut it off. So Trevor just fixed that and I re-uploaded it. Oh, can you guys hear me still?
You're
You cut
cutting
out
in
for
and
a
out.
minute.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I cut out or yeah. That Anyway, okay, so I'm back. The importance of count accuracy. So the accurate inventory counts are the foundation of effective business operations. Knowing exactly what is on hand ensures smooth workflow, uh, cost controls, reduce waste, and increase customer satisfaction. Why count accuracy matters. It prevents out of stocks and overstocks. Inaccurate counts can lead to running out of essential items or over ordering, both of which increase costs and disrupt information or operations. Counts are entered in the Portofino ordering system minutes after you enter your survey. Sherry is waiting for your calls to come in morning and afternoon so that she can pass that information on to Portofino and upload your photos to them. These counts generate the next orders that are shipped to your store. This is why we have a cutoff in the morning because Portofino is literally waiting for your counts so that they can put them into their ordering system so they can generate the orders that are pulled that day so that they can be put on trucks, the next morning and sent out to the stores. So it is very important that your counts are accurate and that your calls are put in a timely manner. And if you are having problems with the app, email your counts. That's the most important thing. We don't need all your photos and everything that can be put into your call report after, but we do need your counts as soon as possible. Afternoon call overview. So you go in through the front door, sign in into the vendor logbook. Most stores should have those at the front. PM calls are focused solely on filling and facing shelves. In the morning, if you have filled everything to capacity, there should not be a lot of filling to be done in the afternoon. Mostly you should be able to, front face and pull things forward, unless, a product is on sale, like the cinnamon rolls when they were on sale or when the brownies were on sale, then, we needed to fill those more often because we had higher sales on them. If there is a product that sells faster, some stores have space underneath the table so that they could just, put a few boxes out, make it easy to fill in the afternoon. But returns, inventory counts, those are handled during morning visits only. So the afternoon should be a fairly quick fill, fluff, facing photos, and you're out of there. So team member expectations, please be on time, check your delivery schedules and align your calls with the deliveries. If there are, if you have with the LTL stores, each of you face different challenges with deliveries and delivery time, delivery schedules. You know, we are still trying to work through that. If you know, we know now that the deliveries generally don't arrive until 7 a.m. or later. Business Center in Winnipeg doesn't arrive until, I believe, their dock time is like 9:30. So their deliveries are going to have to be worked the following day. Uh, or possibly in the afternoon may have to fill something that's very low. But the process for the paperwork and everything will have to be processed the following day because, like Prince George, their delivery doesn't arrive until between 10 a.m. and noon, so they always have to work their uh, delivery the following day as well. Communicating proactively, if you're unable to complete a scheduled visit, please notify your DM as early as possible so that coverage can be arranged. We know that their life happens. Sometimes people get sick. You woke up sick. If your car breaks down on your way to the call, there may not be. You can't give a lot of notice for that. But if you need a day off, you have an appointment. If you can give us more notice, the more notice, the better, so that we can maintain our 100% call compliance. We have only missed two calls in the last 2 months. So, we really need to make sure that we are keeping that call compliance up. And your call is not completed until your survey has been submitted. Professional conduct, treat customers and store staff with respect and courtesy, dress appropriately, wear, smart business casual attire, that's comfortable, and suitable for a retail environment. Clothing should be clean and good condition and free of rips and tears. And ask questions. If you're unsure about anything, reach out. Your DMs, myself, Sherry, we're all here to help. If you ask your DMs uh, questions, they will, if they don't know, they will reach up to myself. I'll reach out to Portofino, and, we will get answers. So please ask questions. I love questions. Questions help us to create process. So I am going to go through uh, the morning call report now because we have there's a few questions that I think people are just getting confused on what you need to put into which question. So steps of the call are laid out on the call on this as well. There is a photo of a POD sticker. You know what you're looking for. The POD sticker has an invoice number that matches the invoice down on the bottom left. And a credit note or credit sticker is going to have your credit note number on it so that those two match up. Sometimes your credit sticker and your POD are going to be the same, on the same sticker. So when you need to have a store contact name, a store contact position, sometimes it's going to be the same person for you every morning during the week. Sometimes it may vary, but we need to know who you spoke with in the store. Your arrival time, your departure time, your photos for before in question 5, and then question 6. Do you have credits for expired or damaged product? This is just a yes or no question. Please do not put any photos into question 6. This question actually has what we call skip logic in it. So if you don't have any credits or expired product and you say no, it's going to skip questions, 7 and 8. So you don't have to answer those. So just answer yes or no for question 6. Question 7 is for your counts. And then question 8 is where you're going to put your photo of your credit note, your credit sticker, the product that is being credited. That goes into question 8. So please don't put them into question 6 and question 8 because then Sherry has to go in and delete and check that, make sure that she has everything she needs and delete duplicates. So question 9 also is a skip logic question. So if is today a scheduled delivery day? Yes, or no, and then actually it's going to ask you, did you receive a delivery today? This is the one with the skip logic. So if you say that you did not receive a delivery today, it is going to skip over the next question, so you don't have to, ask about or answer the questions about delivery and put in a POD or anything. I'm I feel like this may be the sorry, I'm just checking. I updated the paperwork and I'm now wondering if yeah, it's got the 26 questions. Okay. Uh
Carrie, Devin has a quick question.
yes, yes, Devin.
Hi.
Oh, sorry. You're muted 1 second.
Try that again. Okay, there we go. Sorry.
Oh,
Right here, now question number 8, when you're talking about, it says, did you take a picture of the credit note, credit sticker, or account form, and product and receiving? So on that one, like today, for an example, I had credits today, and they obviously couldn't do them until tomorrow. So in there, I have to upload the pictures of just the credit note that I've written up without the stickers.
yeah,
But do we put a yes there if we don't have the sticker with it yet? Like today, I put the four slips because I got to write each credit separately.
right.
I put those in there to upload the picture, but then I said no because I don't actually have the sticker. And then I also had the credits from yesterday with the sticker that I received this morning from yesterday. And I put those under my additional photos, as I'm sure you're probably gonna get to that. But and then I also wrote in there that I would have to upload the stickers for today tomorrow. So my
Right.
question is number 8, do I put a yes or a no if I only have the note that I wrote up without the sticker? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, yeah, that totally makes sense. And this is where the confusion is. So you're gonna say yes, because you did upload photos, and then but you're going to leave a comment down at the bottom to say that my credit, the credit sticker for today's date will be uh got tomorrow. It'll be in tomorrow's call report. But you said yes because you have a credit note and you have the picture of the product and receiving. We just don't have the credit sticker, so you're going to leave a comment about that. So that then this way that is in our comments in the SharePoint, and we highlight the font in red so that the people in the credit department know that they have a credit note and there's a picture of the product in today, and they know that the credit is going to be processed under today's date, but the credit sticker won't be available till the following day. So they know to look in the pictures for tomorrow to actually get the credit sticker. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I was just that
Yeah,
unless I had the sticker on like the credits I did today, I was putting a no, but still uploading the credit note just without the sticker. So what I'll
yeah,
do now, I'll just hit yes. Here's the thing, and I already put that in the comments, detailed comments that the credit notes for tomorrow or for today will be uploaded tomorrow. So I already do all that other stuff. So perfect. Okay, thanks.
yeah, yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah. So that's one of the ones where we're getting duplicate photos in question 6 and question 8, and then but we're not getting a lot of photos of the product that's being claimed. So going forward, when you have a credit, please make sure that you take a photo of that product. We don't need a picture of each individual product. Just, if it's in a cart and you have, 10 items, just take a photo of all of the products together in the cart. If you have, an entire cart of uh, cheesy sticks and then you have a half a pallet of, something else, then we'll need two pictures. But if it all fits in one photo, what the quantities are, that they match up with what you've put on, one photo is fine. Please do not put in a photo of every product. So is today a scheduled delivery day? Yes or no? Did you receive a delivery today? Yes or no? And this is the one that will skip the next couple of questions. If you say no, did you receive a delivery today? You say no, it's going to skip uh, right over to, I believe, question. I'm not sure, but it's going to skip a few questions, so you don't have to answer all of the questions. Ones that don't pertain. So, and then if was the delivery available and accessible on your arrival? Take a photo of the delivery. So this is where you're going to put in a picture of the pallets that came in on the delivery. Did you receive a duplicate POD in receiving? Take a photo. If no, why? So this is where you're going to put in text that, POD. You can put in the pictures of your invoices. You can stick that in where you're down at the end, not in this one for the duplicate POD. So uh, please put the invoices at the bottom of the call report, not in here. Just this one is just for the POD, because if you say no, you don't have it, and then you put in a comment, this comment is going to go, this is where it's going to say, I received the delivery, uh, uploading pictures of invoice. POD will be available tomorrow for today's delivery, so that we know to look in the following day's photos for your POD sticker. I hope that makes sense. Your counts, do your counts include today's delivery? Yes, no, or NA? So if you did not receive a delivery today, then you are going to say NA. Like it doesn't pertain because you didn't get a delivery. So if you did receive a delivery, you're going to answer yes or no. And your yes or no, then you're going, if it's yes, great, they're in there. If no, why? Well, my delivery didn't, it's here. It didn't arrive until 10 minutes before I had to leave. They won't let me on the floor. That's after store opening. I didn't get the invoice yet. So, a delivery, whatever the reason is that you weren't able to get, the counts and add them in. So then that way they know that the, the counts that you have are low because the delivery that was arriving today did not get put into your counts, so that they don't end up sending you, double the product. You don't want to end up with a whole bunch more than what you need. Whoops.
Barry, a
And
quick
then,
question. Can I
yes,
interrupt you for a second? Can you go back up to question 11 for me, please?
yeah,
Okay, so question 11 asks, was the delivery available and accessible on your arrival? So even if we say no, then we still need a picture of the product, right? So
yeah. Well,
why
that's
is it? Yeah, I'm just asking. Then why does it ask if it's available or accessible? Like, do we just want a picture of the delivery, or do we really want to know if it's available or accessible?
well, we want. So was it available and accessible on your arrival? So
Right,
if it wasn't available on your arrival because it has not arrived yet, you
right.
know,
When you came, yeah.
yeah, yeah, because it was a delivery day, so did you receive a delivery today? Well, no, and so it wasn't available on my arrival, and then you're gonna, but it was a scheduled delivery day, because if you enter at the beginning, is today a scheduled delivery day? Yes.
Yes.
Did you receive a delivery today? No. Then it's gonna skip question 11.
Okay,
So
but if it
you
okay,
shouldn't.
so if it's right, so if it's delivery day, and did you receive a delivery today? Yes, you did. But was it available and accessible when you arrived? No, because it didn't arrive when I arrived. It came after.
Yeah,
So,
but you won't you'll say that you didn't receive the delivery because it left before you got there.
oh
So
no,
you
I'm
did,
just saying,
yeah,
no, I'm saying like if I start at 6
yeah,
and the delivery comes at 7 and I still have time to process it. So do I say then that it's delivery day? Yes. Did I receive a delivery? Yes, I did. But was it
yes,
available when I came? No, it wasn't
no,
available when I came. Okay.
right,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So that's correct, but we still, like, this is still where you want a picture of the delivery. You don't
So if
want
it's
it at
not,
the very end? Like,
yeah,
I'm just
well, yeah,
surprised you
before
have
you
a photo
leave,
here.
yeah,
Yeah,
because if it's there and it's available and it's accessible and you say yes, then I need a photo of the delivery.
okay, even if we
But
say no, we need
also,
a photo, right? Even
yeah,
if we
like
say
I
no.
unfortunately when I put in that I need a photo, it is a compulsory. I can't make it so that it's not.
Okay,
Yeah, so like it's
that
gonna
makes sense.
ask for a photo. So, but then also if it's, it may have been that it was available, but it wasn't accessible because, they may have buried it. So then, if it's buried behind a whole bunch of other pallets, then if you can get up as high as you can and put your phone up and take a picture of it down, that this is why I didn't get to work my delivery because it's buried, four pallets back and nobody was available to get it out.
Okay,
So it's like when everything was ending up in the freezers at the beginning of the project.
right.
When it was when we
Okay,
had Costco delivery, we were sending them lots of pictures of our product, on high steel inside a freezer that we just had absolutely zero,
access to.
accessibility to. So,
Okay, so I'm
yeah,
just curious then, we put pictures of the display of the delivery here and not at the
right,
last question, not in the very last question where it says
right,
additional photos. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
perfect. Thank you.
yep. Oh, lost my mouse. 1 second. There it is.
So question 6 asks
Yeah.
for a picture, but you don't want pictures in question 6.
No, no. It's asking, do you have credits or expired damaged product? Like, do you
It
have a
also
credit to
has
do?
the add new photo button.
Say,
So
yeah,
I had
but
been
we don't need,
adding pictures there and we're not. So can we just remove that so we don't put a
I
picture there?
I can't because it's a yes or no question. So it just you can add photos in to like, but it's not compulsory. That one is not a compulsory. So see this little camera that's on here on your call report. It show I have a camera beside each one that requires a photo.
Is there a
Question
way
6,
then
you
in
just
the
say no
actual
and go by. You don't, it
in
won't,
Christina?
in
Christina, on the app itself, every question has that option to take a new photo. So we do not change our app because every question has that option to take a new photo.
right. So since there's only a couple
Even if
that
it's
need a photo, is there a way to go into that question and just say photo required? Because then we know those ones absolutely need a photo and we can ignore the photo on the rest.
yeah, it's right here on your directives. Shows
then
you
she
which
means
ones are required.
on the questions. If on the
Oh,
questions itself, then we would know which question to put the photos in. Because we
okay.
don't have this right beside our
Yeah,
question, right on the app.
yeah.
We don't see the
Okay.
icon on the app itself. So that's a good
I'm just thinking
suggestion.
rather than having two documents that we're cross-referencing, because I know Tracy had just emailed me this week saying like the photos need to be in 8, you're not putting the photos in because I was putting them in 6. So after today, I know no photos in 6, 8, but it's one more thing to remember with all these changes. So if as we're
Yeah.
going through the survey on the certain questions, it said must enter photo, then we know those are really the only photos we have to pay attention to the photo box.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I can go through and update the paperwork, like the questions, probably for starting on Saturday. I can't change the survey this week once we've started entering uh, data in. I can't change, but I can make the change starting Saturday.
No, I
So that's a
understand.
great
And then
suggestion.
the other question I have is when it says, did you get a delivery and you say no, it asks for a photo. And if, like, I just kind of take them to the floor or the ceiling or whatever, but I can't get past that. Otherwise, I get an error and get kicked out because I do it not with the app, I do it on the website.
Hmm.
So I know Tracy's come in and taken a few videos of that happening, but is that good enough? Like when I can't get past it because it says, did you
Yeah,
get a delivery? You say no, then it wants a picture. Well, you can't take a picture of nothing.
yeah.
So I just take the floor or the ceiling.
I can send out a stock photo of a no photo to everyone so that if you run across that, you can have this stock photo. It's just a stock photo of a camera with a circle with a red line through it, and then that way if you upload that, Sherry knows automatically she can just delete it. because it's a no stock photo. So I'll send that those. And then if you are having issues with that, and I will take a look at question 11, and look at you know see how it's set up to see if there's some way that I can try to mitigate some of these issues for you guys. So I will take a look at question 11 as well. Okay. Great feedback. Okay, so for your counts, like I said, if you're having problems with the counts, there have been a few issues with counts not showing up in the call reports. Uh, I think what's happening is if you're going back into the call report, uh, it wipes it out. So if you have to go back into the call report to edit, you have to make sure you put your call counts in again, and then you have to hit upload. Otherwise it doesn't upload your counts again. But once you've submitted your call report, if there's anything that you need to change, because Sherry generally is in, you submit that call, it comes in, and we are in that call right away. So then if we're already in that call, we haven't quite verified the call, but you go back into the call, that's where, things start getting kind of messed up, because now we've got two people in a call in two different systems at the same time, and then data disappears. So once you've submitted the call, please don't go back into the call. If you have another photo that you missed, or you have a comment that you want to update, please send an email. If you send an email, we can add that to your call report, and then there's less, chance of data disappearing. So just if you send a text message to your DM, say, "Oh, I missed this photo," or "I need to add this about my credits," or whatever it is. If you send it by a text message or an email, they can send that off to us, and we can update your call report for you.
If we do
And
make a change before we hit submit, do we lose the original photos? Like today, I went I said yes to the credit picture, and I just had a picture of my product. I hadn't written the sheet yet or the sticker, but before I left, I got the sticker. So if I go back into that one, hit edit and say upload new photos, does that new photo I add get added to the photos I had? Or are the original photos lost and I need to go again?
well, it should say, like, it'll tell you how many photos are in the call down in the lower left corner.
Okay.
So, if you've got, it'll say there's four photos uploaded, and then you go and add another photo, then it should change to 5.
Well, sometimes it does, and sometimes it goes back to 1. Because this morning I had 3, then I had 1, so I went in again, and then it said 7. And I was like, well, 3 plus 1 doesn't make 7. So I was just curious if when we go in and add, are we deleting
Yeah.
what was already, like if I notice I
No,
missed potato bands.
if you haven't submitted your call yet, they should still be in there. You can add an additional photo. Your other photos shouldn't disappear. If you haven't submitted the call yet, they should still be there. You should be able to just add an additional photo.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the questions 20 through 23. So for 20, how many items were out of stock on your arrival in the inline section? So that's when you walk in and you have an empty space on the table, you have 0 cheesy sticks. So that's 1. You know, uh, if you have, you walk in and the cheesy sticks are almost empty and there's like 2 left on the table, then it's not out of stock. So, it's how many products were out of stock on the sales floor between the racks and the tables. You have 10 products, you can't have a number higher than 10. Hopefully, you never have a number higher than 1 or 2. But if it's a product would be completely out of stock on the sales floor. That doesn't matter if you may have product in back stock that you can fill it with, but there was no product on the sales floor available to the customer, is what we're looking for out of stocks. So if you're say cheesy sticks and, banana loaf are both empty on the sales floor, whether you have back stock or it came in on a delivery, that is like two out of stocks. For if you're out of cheesy sticks and banana loaf, then you have two out of stocks. Then for how many out of stock items were you able to fill during your visit, that number cannot be any higher than the two you put in the question previously. So the product home filled, which was empty on arrival. So this question doesn't pertain to how many products you stocked during your visit. It's just how many out of items that were out of stock on your arrival were you able to fill. So out of the, cheesy sticks and the banana loaf, maybe you received cheesy sticks on your delivery, but you have no banana loaf and they didn't send any in the delivery. So that item is still out of stock. So now you were able to fill one. So you had two out of stocks at the beginning when you walked in. You were able to fill one. So you put two in the first question 20 and one in question number 21. So that means you still have one out of stock. So your photos are going to reflect this when you walk in and you take all your before photos before you touch anything. It's going to show that, the cheesy stick table was empty and that the banana loaf was empty. And then your after photos are also going to show that you filled those cheesy sticks, but that the banana loaf is still empty. So your photos should be reflecting the answers to these questions. So we shouldn't have that there was like I've had some people put in like 63 and 125 and it's like some very large random numbers, and then I have to go back through the call reports to take a look at the photos to figure out what was actually out of stock, if anything was, what they were able to fill, because all of this data goes into a database and a dashboard for our client. So this goes into actually like a graph and a pie chart so that they can see the value of our visits, of how many out of stocks we're able to fill for them, especially on the afternoon visits. Uh, when we come in and it's, there's two products out of stock and we're able to fill that for the evening customers to be able to purchase their products still. So that shows value to the client for what we're doing for them. So I would really appreciate if we can get these answers correct so that they reflect what the photos are that we're taking. How many missing or incorrect price tags were there on arrival? They are magnets, most of them, so sometimes they fall off. There's also I also found out that I haven't sent out an email yet, but apparently the cupcakes were the incorrect price when they came out last week. I was off on Friday, so I did miss the email about it, but they were supposed to be $12.99 rather than $14.99. So on afternoon visits today, if everybody could just take a look and see that the cupcakes are $12.99 on your price tags. So this would be an incorrect price tag. So when you go in, if it says $14.99, you can say, yes, there was one incorrect price tag, and then you got that price tag corrected during your visit. Are there any questions on those four survey questions?
No, the only thing that I would suggest is sometimes we don't get emails letting us know about like a promo. For example, like when the cinnamon rolls were on sale, we didn't get anything, or I didn't see anything previous to them when they went on sale. So I just when they go through in the morning and they change out the price tags, it would be nice if we would know if it's like certain days they're starting so that we can follow up with the managers just to make sure those get done before open. Um, they're usually really good at coming around with it, but I have noticed that the one time I found out later in the day and I had to correct it at like in the afternoon call, so it wasn't very long, but it'd be nice if we had all that information prior to the start.
Yes, I actually am sending out a another update probably tomorrow. You'll get an update. I'm just waiting for some more information from Portofino regarding the next it's not a promo, but the next new item. It's a new switch out. So the you may have noticed that the potato buns are starting to get low. Potato buns are going to be going out like next week, they'll sell through, and there's a new brioche bun that's going to be coming in to take its place. So I am just waiting for some information on when the delivery of the brioche is going to start. And it sounds like the potato buns are selling through faster than they had anticipated. So some of you may be out of them before the brioche arrives. What to let the management in the store know that this space is going to be taken up by the brioche buns. So if it is next to another one of our products, if it's the next to say the peasant loaf, if you could just move the peasant loaf over to take up that space so we don't lose the space for when the new product arrives. But there's going to be a switch out for that. After that, the beginning of June, the Schwartz loaf is going to be discontinued. That will be coming out of the lineup. And we will be taking over merchandising on mini nans. So those are in a lot of stores, they are on the racks over by the tortillas. Not in all stores, but in some stores, the nans are usually over on the wall. We're going to be taking over the mini nans first, and then in July we'll be taking over the larger nan. I don't have exact dates for these yet, but this is the information that I have, so you're as up to date as I am. As soon as I have more information, I will be sending it out to you guys. So you expect an email tomorrow afternoon from your DMs. And then your after photos in 24, and then the last questions about do you have additional photos? So this is where you will put your delivery invoice, bill of lading, pallet identification labels, flown pallets, pallets that are, buried back in receiving that you weren't able to, access, and pallets that, for the in the afternoon, if there's your pallets got flown, it's good to know where they are for tomorrow morning. So if you take a photo of it, you're not the same person that's going to be working the next day. It's good to put that in and put in a note and say, oh, I found these two pallets. Please let the morning rep know that these pallets are up here because they might not go and look for them in the morning. The store might not bring them down. They might not be accessible to them, and then they don't get counted and they don't get worked. So if there are some stores that different reps are working even during different days of the week. So if they can put those notes in so that the next rep knows, we can let them pass the information on, just so that we aren't losing pallets, losing inventory, pallets going stale dated, up in high steel, so that there's higher claims. So just want to try to mitigate as much as that as possible, and communication is the only way we're going to be able to do it. Okay, so that is the morning call report. The afternoon call report is much simpler because you don't have the calls or the credits. See, this is the updated one with the Sonora and the sorbet. So the only thing that I've really noticed on here was that uh, if we're out of stock, well, actually, if we're stocking it, I've noticed a few people answering was able to work the product in line. So if you're answering a question in the afternoon that says that you were able to work the product in line, I would need an explanation as to why. That it should be either on the shelf with the tag and the product on shelf with both with the tag, or that it was out of stock and had a tag. If it was out of stock and it had no tag, that would be the only time, and the product home was filled with something else, and you had to go to a manager to say, well, I have this product, I need to get this back on the table. That's when you would say that yes, was able to work the product in line. So there's not very, there's a few times, and I go through these questions because these are also put into the dashboard as a graph and a pie chart for the client. So just want to make sure that we answer them right, as accurately as possible. So there's, a certain situations where that was able to work the product in line in an afternoon call that may be necessary to have that, but and not currently in line section. If it's a regular product and you put in that it's not currently in the inline section, like the give and go cinnamon rolls, say, you come in and it's like disappeared. We really need to know that, because if it was there in the morning call and it's no longer there in the afternoon call, we're going to need to find out what happened to that product and why it was removed. So those are kind of 911s on those questions.
In my
And
app, those answers aren't in the same order.
I know we're trying to
I
get that
find
fixed.
okay. It would just be
Yeah,
so helpful if you could you just know, and sometimes you hit it and then you're like, wait, that was wrong.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like that has been a known issue for a while. Tech is working on it. I put them in when I go in, I put them all in the same order, and then when I go back, they're not in the same order, and I find that my OCD really irritates me. I really think that they need to be in the same order in every question every week. Like they change, from, I copy the survey over and it'll change from week to week, where they are. And I have
Yeah.
not touched the survey. It's the same. So I didn't go in and change the order. It's something in the system that's doing it. They're trying to figure out why. So, I feel your frustration on that. So hopefully they will get that rectified. And then the same with questions 21, 22, 23, 24 that we went over with the morning one, about out of stock on arrival, product home, empty on the sales floor. So you can only have as many products as we have. Like it can't be more than 10. Hopefully it's zero. But if you did have we're out of stock on something, that should reflect in your before photos. And then your after photos should also reflect how many, if you were able to fill one of those things that were empty. And then for the afternoon, this would be where you put in those photos of flown product for the morning. If they said they were going to leave your pallets down on the floor in receiving, and you went in and there's nothing on the floor in receiving and everything's flown up. Take a picture of the product that's flown up so that you know where it is the next day, or the next rep knows where that is,
So
and
I'm
then
confused. In
Mhm.
the afternoon visit, are we going to the back and taking product and putting it on the floor to fill
if
up spaces, or are we not? Because I was told no.
if it is, so the afternoon, we're not going to spend like, a whole lot of time filling. We're supposed to, in the morning, we should be filling everything to capacity so that, we can get through the sales day and we can, pull everything forward and make sure that there's enough product to make it through the sales day. If you come in and something is empty, like you sold, all of a sudden, your holding capacity is only 48 for cinnamon rolls, and you sold 47 cinnamon rolls, and you have one left on the table. That would be a 911 where would want to try to get that product back out on the sales floor. But if you came in and you had 48 on the table and you've still got 32 in the afternoon, you're not going to go full product to fill that. You're just going to front face it, make it look nice and make it look full and level, and take your after photo. Uh, this is why some stores, you're able to, if you have a store that you're able to put product under the table, put the high sellers under the table so that you can, uh, you have something available to be able to just pull out and fill quickly. We don't want to be bringing down pallets and blocking off aisles and spending a lot of time trying to get product down. But in the afternoons, because this is a shorter call, the average afternoon call takes about 30 to 40 minutes. So most reps are in and out of the store in, 30 to 40 minutes. And then we asked a few weeks ago, because we have this little bit of extra time in the afternoon, do a quick walk. This would be when it is a good time to take a walk and look up and see if you can locate any missing pallets. Find out where the pallets are for the next morning. So if you are the morning rep that's going to be in tomorrow, you know that there are 2 pallets or 3 pallets flown. You've taken pictures of them, you know the locations. When you come in the next morning, you can check and see, oh, okay, good, all three of. But if they're not, you know where they are because you located them the day before. Yes, Devin?
Yeah, hi. I just want to make you guys aware of something too. Like today, for example, I'll go in this afternoon and my delivery will have shown up and it will be accessible. However, like today, this morning I had like 7 tortillas left, so those may be
Yeah,
sold out by the time I show up. And even though my 2 pallets or whatever of delivery may be accessible, the placement of those tortillas are 3/4 of the way down on a pallet underneath a bunch of other products. So in order for me to get at those in the afternoon to stock them up, I'd have to cut the shrink wrap all the way down, hand bomb everything off, get at those, put it all up, and that
right,
would be extremely time consuming. And as well, they'd also expect us to go back and rewrap that pallet so
right.
that it can be moved. And so in a situation like that, it's not really feasible. So I just kind of wanted to let you
Yeah.
guys be aware of that. If it's cheese sticks, they're always on the top and it's easy and you can do that in the afternoon, but some of them are very difficult to get to in the afternoon. So
Oh
even
yeah,
if the pallets inside.
absolutely. And you know, your store is aware that your delivery doesn't show up until between 10 and noon every day. Every time. You're like you never get an early delivery. And they know that your delivery is going to be worked the following day. So on your afternoon call that, tag on shelf the product out of stock. And we know from your counts this morning that you only had 7. We know also that your delivery didn't show up until noon. So, and I don't expect you to tear out a pallet in the middle of the afternoon to, throw a couple of boxes of tortillas on the shelf. So,
Okay, great.
you
That's
know,
all I wanted to
yeah,
clarify. Thanks.
yeah, nope, yeah, absolutely. And because we know how that, how your store works in particular. There are also the business center in Winnipeg, kind of the same thing. They don't get theirs until after store opening. So unless it's a small pallet and something's really accessible, we don't want you tearing down pallets and ripping stuff apart in the middle of the afternoon. The store does not want that either. And if it's something that's accessible, and like I was saying, if you have a product that's a high seller, you have space under the table, you can make it easily accessible to be able to do a quick fill in the afternoon, then, by all means do that. But please do not be, like there was a month or two ago where they were selling Alberta stores that they wanted us to go in at, like after 3 o'clock, and because there was no forklift available to bring pallets down, and it was creating a whole bunch of extra chaos. That now we're bringing down pallets in the afternoon. People are there longer just to fill up one product, or so now Portofino has asked that our afternoon calls are done. We arrive between 1 and 3, or 1 and 3:30. Our calls are done by 4 o'clock. And that's it. We don't want. I don't want Sherry to be. Pardon me. Oh, oops, sorry. Somebody's on. Okay, not on mute. I'm just going to mute everybody again. Okay, yeah. So we want. I would like Sherry to be off work and finished by 5:30. She starts her mornings very early for the morning calls, and she has to stay on until all of the calls have been entered in the evening. So this is part of why we have a deadline, and so that we can get all this information uploaded, so everybody can do their very best to please have your call reports in by 5 p.m. local time. I know it says on to have it done by 4 p.m. and but as long as you're finished your call between 4 and 4:30 and your call is in the system before 5 o'clock, Sherry can get that information moved over. The earlier the better. BC 5 p.m. their time or 4 p.m. BC is always done before everybody else. So, good on you guys. Thank you so much. Uh, but it's the sooner you can get your calls in, the better. The less time Sherry has to sitting in front of her laptop. We appreciate that. Hey, does anybody? I'm gonna wrap this up. We've been over an hour now. So, anybody have any more questions? Clarification that you need on anything? Going once? Going twice? Okay. I really appreciate everybody coming. I appreciate your time. I appreciate all of the hard work that you're doing out in the stores. Portofino also really appreciates the way the program is going, all of the hard work, and the feedback and stuff that we are able to give them through our comments, through our surveys. The information we can give them is invaluable. The program is constantly evolving. There are things that are changing. There's processes that we're trying to tighten up, and your feedback helps me to get that done for you. So thank you.
Thank you,
No,
Carrie, for your
Perfect.
time
Thanks,
today.
everyone. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Carrie. Bye.
good call, Carrie. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Carrie. See you later.
Yep, thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Carrie, if you're still on, yeah.
Yep, yep.
Okay, so I did press the stop recording. No, it's still going. Let me just see. And then what? It just shows up?
Yeah, I see up at the.
Hang on here.
Yeah.
I'm pressing stop. Unless it just, once I hang up, maybe it just, you would think that you would press it. Well, maybe I'll hang up and see what happens.
I'm gonna end meeting.
Oh,